Welcome back to the Dynasty Startup Mock Draft. This is for a Dynasty Superflex League. This is rounds 4 through 6. If you haven't seen the other video that's posted rounds 1 through 3, check that out if you'd like. I go into detail on almost every single pick. And we're just going to jump right back into it, guys, here. And we're looking at rounds 4 through 6. You see rounds 1 through 3 there, how they panned out. Still one team without a quarterback, which is very scary in a super flex league, but sometimes that's just how the board falls. If you look at the 205, it was too early to pick Jaden Daniels and Lawrence with guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. there. You look at the 308, it was too early to pick Tua or Jared Goff with guys like Laporta, Ayuk, and Adunze there. So, it's just how the board falls sometimes. So we're going to hope he gets a quarterback here in round 4. But we're going to see. We're going to move it right along here. And we're looking at the 401 here. And something, again, when you're at these turns, when you're at pick 10, 11, 12, or 1, 2, 3, there are times when you do have to reach for players because it's so long in between, your last pick on the turn versus your next pick. Right? It's so much time in between. And what I'm going to do here, yeah, maybe it's a slight reach. It's not much of a reach. Maybe it's a slight reach, but I'm going to get my second quarterback here. I'm going to pair Tua Tunga via low. You know what? That's a lie. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to take Jared Goff. I'm going to take Jared Goff as my QB2, pair him with Justin Herbert. I know some of you may be thinking, really? Like Goff over Tua? And honestly, I think that's the right move right now. Like Goff just got paid. He's only 29 years old. Goff's gonna play for a lot longer, right? You look at the numbers the last 2 years. Jared Goff last year, 17.8 points per game, was QB7. In total points, QB 15 in points per game. Tua was QB 19 in points per game. So Jared Goff was better than Tua, right? And in 2022, Tua 18.4 points per game and Goff 17.1. So Tua was better, but not by much. So I just like the situation for Goff a little bit more. And he's going to be in that situation with all those players for a very long time. So I don't mind Goff. I'm a little bit concerned about Tua. I'm a little bit concerned about him. And just his long-term future without Tyreek Hill, without the offense around him. On Team 11, what I'm going to do here, again, and I'm happy with it, I'm going to have the running backs fall a little bit more. The guys like ETN, Saquon, Kyron, Achane. I already have a running back here. I want to lock up another receiver. And I'm going to take Michael Pittman here. Maybe it's a little bit of a reach. I pair him with Anthony Richardson, but he just got paid. I feel confident that Michael Pittman's going to be a solid wide receiver too for the next several years. And I get to pair him with my quarterback and get a nice solid wide receiver too to go along with Puka Nacua. So I'm happy with that move there. And now Team 10, I do think it is a little bit of a reach to take a wide receiver there, as I just did. So I have a couple different options, but I'm going to shoot for upside here a little bit. Now, you know what? I'm gonna take Travis Etienne. I'll take Etienne. I know he's going to be I do know where he's going to be the next 2 years. Now, his usage, I have some questions about, his usage this year. And then what if the Jags just kind of suck again and a whole new coaching staff comes in? Then you get worried about Etienne and what his future is in terms of his usage. But I feel fairly confident what I'm getting at the 403 right there with Etienne, at least for the next couple of years. And then Team 9. Team 9 here, I'm going to go ahead and take Trey McBride. I like Trey McBride more than Sam Laporta because of where I can get him versus Sam Laporta. Like, I'd much rather Ayuk and McBride than Laporta and, Michael Pittman or something like that. Not only that, but I get to pair him with Kyler Murray, which I don't try and stack too much. It just so happens like that's kind of, I use it as a tiebreaker more than anything. If I have, you know, 2 players in the same tier, it just so happens I do have some stacks here. And then if I'm team 8, like I just have to take a quarterback. I look at my team and I feel fairly confident with, like, you know what? I have a good team. You know, I have CeeDee Lamb, I have Marvin Harrison, I have Sam Laporta. I need a quarterback to come in and just give me some points. And unfortunately, that's going to be Tua. I'm going to take Tua. If I had more of a maybe, all right, I don't know if I'm going to compete this year type of team, which, you know, through the first 3 rounds, you don't really know that. But I don't know. Let's just say I had like Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, and you know, someone else, Laporta. I maybe lean, you know, Drake May or something to say, you know what, this team's going to compete in 2025. But from where we stand right now, I'll take Tua, take him off the board there. And then we get to Team 7. Team 7, I do want to grab a receiver if I can. Just kind of looking at the receivers, I do think they're a little bit of a reach. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to shoot from some upside here. You know what? No, I got to go receiver because I already have Bijan as kind of my hero RB. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take Nico Collins. I'm going to take Nico Collins. I have Nico Collins over Devontae Smith, but kind of in the same tier just in terms of my ranking. So if you do want to take Devontae Smith, go for it. But I'll take Devontae Smith here. Nico Collins here. And I feel very, very good about where I'm at with my team, with Justin Jefferson, Bijan Robinson. You know, my Brock Purdy, I don't really want him as my QB1, but that's just how the board played out. And that's what happens when you get Justin Jefferson and Bijan Robinson, your first 2 picks. So I will be looking second quarterback very early because I want 2 low-end QB1s as my QB 1 and 2, essentially. So he comes off the board here. Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, A.J. Brown. I can kind of go any direction here. I'm in the middle of the draft, so I don't feel like I need to reach for receiver at all. So I will take a little bit of what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is going to smash this year. I think he's going to be what Christian McCaffrey was or is for the 49ers. And also Saquon Barkley is still 27 years old. I feel very confident he's going to be a top 5, if healthy, a top 5 running back for the next 2 years. So I'm okay with taking Barkley. I got some value on him. His ADP's at the end of the 3rd round. I got him in the middle of the 4th, and I'm very happy with my team. Yeah, I got 2 Eagles players on there, but that's okay. It's A.J. Brown and it's Saquon, so I'm not too worried about that. Team 5 here. Team 5, you're gonna kind of in an interesting spot, I believe, with how kind of the draft started just a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take Drake May. I think it's kind of amazing, like the difference in ADP between Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Drake May could be better than Jaden Daniels very easily. Real quarterback and fantasy. It wouldn't shock me at all. I like Drake May a lot. I know he goes to the Patriots, but I think he's going to be very, very good. And I feel very good about my team. Now, for Team 5, I do feel like I can compete next year. I got Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Lamar Jackson. I don't want to spend a year rebuilding with Lamar Jackson as my quarterback. I have Lamar Jackson in his prime. I want to be competing those years. You guys need to approach Dynasty this way. Look at your team and say, do I really want to rebuild a year with Lamar Jackson in his prime at age 27? No. So what I'm going to do for Team 5 is I am going to prioritize my QB3 very high. I'm going to try and get a really good QB3 there to fill in, to kind of be my QB2 and let Drake May be my QB3 and develop, even though I took Drake May as my QB2. Team 4, you have to take a wide receiver. You cannot leave the first 4 rounds without a wide receiver in Dynasty. And it is going to be, I'm going to take DJ Moore. Do I want DJ Moore? Who do I have? I have Hurts. No, I'm taking Devontae Smith. That's the tiebreaker. It was Devontae Smith or DJ Moore. I'll take Devontae Smith and use him to stack with Jalen Hurts. And I'm super happy there. Now I look at this next team. I can kind of go any direction I want to. It's kind of like I'm not going to prioritize veterans necessarily because, you know what? I got a young team, and this team doesn't have to compete. This is the difference between Team 5 and Team 3. Team 5 has Lamar in his prime. Team 3 has CJ Stroud, who is going to be entering his prime. Jaden Daniels, who's a rookie. Drake London, who, you know, is still a very young player. So I really can go any direction here. And so for that reason, I am going to value a little bit more stability here. You know what? I'm going to go. This is tough. This is really tough. Where would I go now that I'm thinking about it? Where would I actually go for this team? And I think what I would do is I would take Kyron Williams here. I take Kyron Williams. I get some value on him. His ADP's at the 406. I get him at the 410. Only because I feel fairly confident. There's a few receivers on there that I like. There's DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, you know, Tank Dell. I really, really like. T. Higgins, I still really like. There's about 4 or 5 receivers I'm fairly comfortable with. And I think I'm going to get one of them coming back. And so I kind of play that game a little bit. All right, let me just lock up my running back, and then we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. So the next team, they both have the same build in quarterback, running back, wide receiver. And what I'm going to do here, I believe, is I'm going to lock up a receiver in DJ Moore here for team 2. DJ Moore. And at the last pick of round 4 for my other team here, I'm actually going to potentially take some value here, and I'm going to grab Brock Bowers. If you want Dalton Kincaid over Brock Bowers, that's okay. I'm going to take Brock Bowers. I just think he's a better prospect overall. Yeah, Kincaid's in a better situation, but Brock Bowers, his talent's gonna overcome everything, I think, and he's just gonna be really, really good for the next 10 years probably. And then what I'm gonna do what I'm going to do here for team 1 and team 2, still need a quarterback. I feel very, very comfortable with Patrick Mahomes as my QB1 of taking a young player. And I'm actually going to take JJ McCarthy here. I'm going to take the chance on JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to worry too much that maybe he doesn't do much his rookie year because I have Patrick Mahomes, and I'll get an old crusty quarterback to be my QB2 later down the line. But I wanted that possibility of, a really good piece at quarterback position to pair with Patrick Mahomes in the future. And then team 2 here. Team 2, again, in a little bit of a tough situation. But I am going to go back-to-back wide receivers here. And a wide receiver that I love is Tank Dell. I'm going to grab Tank Dell and just really hammer my wide receiver room. It's young. DJ Moore's not super young, but he's still young enough. It could be really, really good. And I'm going to build around my wide receivers and Josh Allen and Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Team 3, you kind of played it in the way of like, all right, I'm just going to get the receiver that I like the most. I'm still going to take T. Higgins over guys like Zay Flowers and DK Metcalf. I just think the upside for T. Higgins is there a little bit more, in my opinion. Zay Flowers, I'm a little bit skeptical about kind of what his ceiling could be. I think he can be a very good top 20, 15 to 20 wide receiver year in and year out. I don't know if he can get to top 12 wide receiver level. I just don't know if he can. So you're going to see a lot of receivers go in this range here. I'll take Zay Flowers next. I will take Zay Flowers, which Team 5 is a little bit upset about because Lamar Jackson, stacking him with Zay Flowers, but that's okay. It's not a huge deal there. Now for Team 5, again, I kind of have multiple ways I can go. Do I want a running back in like Achane, Do I want build around my receiving core a little bit? I can even take a guy like Dalton Kincaid, but I think I'm going to pass on Kincaid. I think I'm going to pass on a wide receiver here. And I'm actually going to grab upside in HN. Devon HN, get some upside there. He could absolutely boom. He could absolutely boom and just be a stud. And at the very worst, I can sell him off if he does boom, if I'm not competing, which this team might not compete. Or no, it should compete, actually. Sorry, you have Lamar Jackson in his prime. You want to compete, so you're going for the upside of HN there for sure. For sure going for the upside of HN. Next up, I really do need another receiver here. And I'm going to be very happy to get Xavier Worthy. I'm a big Xavier Worthy fan. I have been since, college football, but since it was just for a very long time, since January, we're really scouting these guys. Love Xavier Worthy. I'll take him over guys like Metcalf. And also with this, this team build, I do want to compete now. And I think Xavier Worthy, he's going to give me a good balance of my first 4 picks here are compete now picks. Joe Burrow, AJ Brown, Prescott, and Barkley. I do need a balance of, all right, let's infuse a little bit of a young talent in there. And that's Xavier Worthy, who can also help me compete now. It's kind of, the best of both worlds. Next up on the list, I am going to get a little bit of, so I have Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Bijan Robinson. If I have Justin Jefferson and Bijan Robinson, I want to compete. So I'm going to take Kirk Cousins over Bryce Young or something like that because I want to compete this year. Because I really, really want to compete this year. And I prioritize those quarterbacks. And honestly, I need another solid low-end QB1 to be my QB2 because Brock Purdy is my QB1. So Team 8 comes up on the board. He's going to get some talent here. Already has their tight end, so not going to go tight end. But will grab some value potentially. Probably going to go wide receiver here. CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Laporta, Tua. I'm good. I'm good with DK Metcalf at this point. Still like DK Metcalf to be what he has been at the very worst. I think there's a case for him being better than what he has been with the offensive scheme change. And, just look at Rome Odunze, DK Metcalf, because it's the Washington college football team. It's their offensive coordinator coming over to Seattle. And I think that that Metcalf's going to play like the Odunze role. We saw what that meant in college football there. My next team here, I am thinking quarterback here, but I might let it go around once before I do that. And I'm actually going to grab, I don't really like the running backs here. I feel like I'm not getting great value here. I mean, I like them. I just don't feel like I'm getting great value here. So I'm going to take a guy that I still think could be the best wide receiver from that draft class, and I'm going to get Jackson Smith and Jigba. I still think he could be the best wide receiver from that draft class. I know it didn't show up last year, but I still think he can be really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. So I'm going to take JSN right there. So now we're here. Team 10. I do feel like I need another receiver here. It's going to be very receiver heavy end of round 4 to round 5. I do feel like I can take a tight end, and I actually might go that way because, guys like Addison Pickens, Rashee Rice, Brian Thomas, even Debo, if I want to go the Debo route. I feel confident in all those guys, so I'm actually going to go ahead and lock up Kyle Pitts here. I still value Kyle Pitts very, very high. I actually value him over Dalton Kincaid. I just think he could be an absolute monster, with Kirk Cousins. So I will take that there. Team 11 here. Team 11. What I'm going to do for Team 11 is I'm going to get a little bit of stability, or Debo Samuel, because Michael Pittman's my wide receiver 2, he's not the strongest wide receiver 2. So I get another player that I think still could be my wide receiver 2, and I'm very happy with how that plays out there. And then team 12 here, you can kind of go in any direction, in my opinion. And what I'm going to do here is I will take Dalton Kincaid as a tight end. And I will take another receiver here. I'm going to push running back, punt running back once again. And honestly, I'm going to take Rashee Rice. I know he's falling a bit, but we're talking about Dynasty here. Yeah, he may be suspended. I get it. But what he did was still amazing, right? Was still absolutely amazing with Patrick Mahomes. To get that value as my wide receiver 3, a young player to pair with St. Brown and Waddle is a very, very strong receiving core. And then team 11, I am going to lock up Bryce Young. I still think Bryce Young could bounce back. And I still think he can be very good. Dave Canales is there. They brought in a bunch of weapons for him. I just think he can still be very, very good. And so I will lock up Bryce Young there. And it's not the strongest quarterback room. It's not the strongest at all. I'm going to definitely value a QB3 here as well, just to give me a strong quarterback room. But I will lock that up. And then team 10 here, I will go receiver since I only have one. This is a tough one about who to pick here. I have Caleb, Jordan Love, Rome Odunze, ETN, Kyle Pitts. I don't necessarily feel like I have to compete this year. And for that reason, I'm going to go young player here. I'm going to go Brian Thomas. I'm going to give me 2 rookie receivers, and I'm just going to kind of approach this. I have 3 rookies on my team now, paired along with Jordan Love. Like, this is a team that could kind of go both ways. If the rookies hit, I could be competing. If they don't, well, I have a very strong young core with Caleb, Jordan Love, Rome Odunze, Kyle Pitts, Brian Thomas. ETN could be a trade chip this year, and I could get good value for him. Team 9 here, I'm still don't want to reach on a quarterback here. I will take the value of Kenneth Walker here now that I got some value on him. He's projected, our ADP's at the 506. I'm getting him at the 604. I'm totally happy with that there. Next up, we got Team 8. Team 8 is in a little bit of a predicament with their quarterback position. Man, I don't want to take one of these quarterbacks right now necessarily. I look at the running backs. I'm not super excited about them. I got my quarterback set up. So I'm going to take the value of getting Jordan Addison, and I'm really stacking those receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr., DK Metcalf, and Jordan Addison. I absolutely love that wide receiver room, and that's a really, really good receiver room. And it really just comes down to, like, if you like Pickens more, if you like McConkey, or if you like one of the veterans, if you want to go for that, then do it. Then take them. I'll take Addison there and just kind of keep getting the value at wide receiver that's falling to me, because I don't want to reach for a Baker Mayfield right now. I really don't. Really, really don't want to reach for a Baker Mayfield right now. Team 7, again, in a really, really good spot. I will take the value of Mark Andrews here. I think that's fantastic value for Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, if you take out the game that he got hurt and his season was over, up until that point, he was on pace to be the tight end 1. And he was on pace for very close-ish numbers to his 2021 dominant season. He's still only 28 years old. I like Mark Andrews a little bit more in Dynasty than Travis Kelce. I do. Next up, again, I got a team that can win this year. I still want to get a couple receivers here. What I want to do, I got a young receiver. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Devontae Adams. I'm going to get a stud veteran wide receiver to help me compete now. And again, if things go wrong, then I'll just sell him off. I'll sell him off and get some value for him. Team 5, Lamar Jackson, Drake May, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Achane. Very, good team. I want to compete this year because I have Lamar Jackson in his prime. And for that reason, I am going to go Kelsey here. Maybe it's a little bit high. He is projected to go at the 503. Travis Kelsey is still going to be the tight end one, most likely. He's the biggest bet to be the tight end one for the next 2 years. So next team here, just moving right along. Still not super excited about the running backs, in my opinion. So I'm going to wait on those running backs once again, and I'm going to take the value here of one of these wide receivers. And I'll go George Pickens now. So I got Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, and George Pickens. I feel pretty good about that wide receiver. Wish I had a little bit better of an alpha, but didn't take my first receiver till the 4th round. So that's kind of the price I pay. So I want to kind of stack up on those receivers if possible. Looking at the wide receivers once again, I got Stroud, Dan. This is my young team. I can kind of go multiple ways with this team. For that reason, I'm going to grab Ladd McConkey here. I'll grab Ladd McConkey and just see, is this a team for, if my rookies hit and my young players hit, it's a team for now. If they don't, I'm okay. I can still compete in 2025 and be a dominant team. So my next team here, I do start to think about quarterback here, but I see that team 1 does have 2 quarterbacks. So I'm going to bank on them not necessarily taking one. And I'm going to grab Gibbs, Allen, Neighbors, Moore, Tank Dell. I'm going to take a chance on this is a tough one. I'm going to go ahead and take the value of Rachaad White here. Don't necessarily love it, but it is really good value in terms of, his ADP's at the 509. I get him over around later at the 611. Team 1, I need a hammer wide receivers here. I only have one, and it's Tyreek Hill. I want a young guy. And for that reason, I'm going to take Jaden Reed. Now, I have Mahomes and McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill, so I do want to repeat. I do want to compete this year. I had an influx of some talent in Bowers and McCarthy, and some young talent in Bowers and McCarthy, but I do want to compete this year still. And so I'm going to lean Cooper Kupp as the veteran wide receiver to pair along with Tyreek Hill. I value Cooper Kupp if you want that veteran receiver over Mike Evans and Stephon Diggs at this point. Cooper Kupp, if you look at his numbers in games where he was healthy, and I know that's the big thing with him, but if you look at those numbers, like, the dude was awesome. Was absolutely awesome. I did already take George Pickens. I did. So now I come back to team 2. And I am going to take my second quarterback here. I'm going to take Deshaun Watson. I still think Deshaun Watson, no matter what your personal opinion of him is, I still think he could be very, very good. 2020 was a really good season. I think he was QB1 overall. Can he get back to those numbers? We'll see. But I still think there's that possibility that he does get back to those numbers. So I will happily take him there. And I just realized I did go more than 6 rounds. I said this was rounds 4 through 6. So I'm actually going to cut off the video there. Kind of funny that I just kept going. Let's remove these and just pretend like you didn't see that. And I will pick those players in the next video. But there you have it, guys. Rounds 4 through 6 of a Dynasty Startup Superflex draft. As always, like and subscribe and be here for rounds 7 through 9. I'll catch you guys all in the next video.